Hey guys, what's going on? U-Rounder here, coming to you with a 25NL video on regular tables. And let me just crank this down so we don't get so many beeps. Hopefully the audio is okay. I shot a video the other day that I thought came out really well, I thought the poker in it was really good, but it turned out to be a poor audio quality. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things I talked about in that video, as well as some new things. Pretty much what I'm trying to do, and I don't think this is the right hand to raise, but we do pick up a volatility profile on a player. Whoa, what is going on now? Jesus, this beeping is killing me. So we're going to need to crank that way down. I feel like there's just too many beeps. I think we just get it all in here. Seems fine on table 4. And not the ideal result, but that's fine. So what I want to talk about a little bit is some note-taking stuff that I've started doing more of, as well as how things are going with coaching and all of that. So that could have been a raise, my bad. What is this? This is a short. There's a note for short, so V1. Essentially what I'm doing is I've been working on a few different ways of doing this and kind of building this system, but to build in color codes as much as I can with hands that I see that give me an idea of how volatile a player is, so that I can adjust my default strategy for that level of volatility based on the player profile. Obviously a specific, showdown is best if I can see what somebody's, doing their volatile things with. That's great, but secondary to that, just knowing that they have sort of volatile tendencies to do dumb things. Like this guy, all I have on him is donking, but I mean 9173, like maybe that warrants a higher level of volatility than what I've got him marked at, which is V1, which is this light blue color. So I was just sort of noting the different things, or trying to note like different things as different colors, and I decided that I think what works is just sort of kind of like doing a scaling level of how volatile they are based on the different things I've seen. And I'm always like kind of lost what to do with king queen off, but let's just 3-bet it for now. So yeah, I'm out of position here. We need, a little bit more before we call with a backdoor flush draw. This guy overcalls our 3-bet. Actually pick up some pretty decent equity. I'm tempted to just pot it here, or just get it in. And problem is, I think this guy probably calls with like a pair of 3s, but I still think it's okay. Yeah, so he doesn't call us with a pair of 3s, which is good. Here we've got, oh, I missed a bet on the turn. That's not good. Now I've got myself into a weird spot on table 2. I'm gonna check fold the river, but I screwed up, so that doesn't help. I'm gonna call this guy because he's obviously a bit of a lunatic. So I messed up on table 2. Also on this table, this guy's now V2 because he is short, and he also did a donk bet. And actually he's gonna be moving right on up to, this guy just donked. So something we already knew was he was volatile, but now we've got sort of the data point to prove it. So this guy actually goes up to V3 because he's short, he donk bet, and he limped. V3 is the purple. And then this guy, oh, he already had, that's what he has it for, is for the donk bet. Okay. But now we've seen him actually do it twice. I don't think we've gotten a showdown, unfortunately, with the donk bet. We do know that he 3-bet ace-7 offsuit, which is pretty non-standard. So we should probably lower our call down frequency against him a little bit. Or our requirements, is what I mean. I feel like we're playing a lot of hands. This is a pretty standard raise. I think we would. And then let's just get it so that the guy that 3-bet here can't fold. And we'll just continue barreling. Again, we've got a little bit of a volatile profile on this guy, so I don't think anything he could do would make us fold. I also just saw this player limped, but then he left. Not as much limping as I usually see. So that's kind of interesting. So this player is actually short, so this player is going to get the V2 for short, limp. And now he's doing it again. So he'll get indigo. So again, it gives me a nice little visual of how loose or how you know, volatile the table is, and gives me a kind of quick ability to. I probably don't need the little V1 definition because that's how I'm color coding, but it doesn't take that much extra time, so I don't mind it. Yeah, so my intent was to, the last video was right before my second coaching session with my coach Nick Howard, and my intent was to sort of do, you know, one right before my lesson and then, you know, one after my lesson, and sort of space it out. So it's like one right after the lesson, one sort of in the halfway point between two lessons, one right before, you know, and so on. That way you can kind of see like the progression that I go through as I, you know, go through the different coaching sessions and whatnot, which I think is, you know, interesting and relevant. So let me see here. Queen Jack, I think, is just going to be a call in the big blind. Yeah. So that's sort of my plan, is to record. I play in 3-hour blocks now. That's what I've settled on, is yeah, playing 3 hours at a time. I think that gets me a good amount of hands per hour. It's a good amount of time to stay focused, and yeah, it just works out pretty well. I can either do 2 or like 3 blocks a day. I've been trying to, when I don't have my son, do 3 blocks on weekends, for obvious reasons. Like, the games are a little bit softer on weekends, so I play a little bit more on weekends, and then I do a 3-hour study block in the morning, and a 3-hour study block in the morning, and then 2 3-hour playing blocks on most days. So that's sort of the schedule. So what I would do is do a 3-hour recording, break it up into 30-minute blocks, and then I've got 6 videos that I can put out there, 1 a day, and essentially be doing, you know, one session every week, or a little bit less than every week, and that way you can kind of see the progression week to week of my skill and get a new video every day. So it kind of, I think that works out really well. And then I'm not trying to record every single session that I play. But yeah, I mean, in the good news is that I feel like I'm playing a lot better. I think the results are coming in really nicely, and part of it is like, this is just like so this actually also should get a little note. Like, inconsistent bet sizing. So like this will get a V1. I'll just call it 3-bet size. I mean, that's what it is. So it's like weird 3-bet sizing. So we'll give that one. Because it gives you an idea that the person isn't doing sort of normal standard things. Again, this is like, so normally we would just fold here. I think the king is enough to fold, right? Like the king should be enough for us to fold, because now like pocket kings and pocket jacks and ace king and pretty much everything that he could have been sort of inconsistently or like messing around with also got there. But also, did you see that river bet? Like that's that huge overbet jam on the river. Like that's another, like we just now have a volatile profile. Like it's kind of, that's it. Now here we've got somebody donking. Player 5 just donked out, which is pretty weird. We are not like really high up in our range, which sucks, but I think we're going to call down regardless because that's a volatility profile. Now, honestly, like I don't know if this makes it more or less of a call, but again, we've got the profile. We're just gonna call. Unfortunately, we are looking at 2-pair, but that was the, I'm not sure that was the correct play, but that was a reasonable play given the read. When we see the donk bet there, now we have the information that this guy is, you know, donk betting with top pair, which is good to have. Actually, should show up as a little note in my PT4 notes thing. So, but he gets so donk bet top pair, and then we'll upgrade him to indigo. I'll just call ace jack. So yeah, that's sort of a big part of what my play is right now, is making notes on players, trying to get reads, and then trying to use, you know, what I can to make the best possible play. Like, I don't love that play I just made because I didn't have top pair. It would have been so much easier with any ace. Now, granted, he ended up with 2-pair, but like, I obviously would have preferred, and I'll get it in with this guy if he wants to go nuts. I'm tempted to check call down against this guy. I think that's the right adjustment here. Let's check call down against this guy, and then we're gonna check the ace jack because we don't want to over polarize our hand on a 3-flush board. And because he called the flop and is checking here, I mean, we're gonna value own ourselves sometimes against ace queen, but I think we can get value from other aces. So he goes and makes a nice full pot size bet. That's what we want and expect. And again, I mean, like a queen of diamonds would be like the only thing that we would like fold to there. So we're gonna call any bet on this river. All right. So we get a little bit more information because we saw this guy check and decide not to bluff. Now, yeah, he could have had a worse value hand that he checked. I mean, he almost certainly did. So he's donking with top pair. Not sure if I had that in the note. All right, so he had air, and he chose not to bluff against us, which is interesting. I would have actually really expected him to bluff there, so that's kind of worth noting. And then This is a pretty standard raise. I don't think I want to deviate outside of what I would normally do here. And once we raise and we don't have a good equity draw, we'll just give up. This guy is volatile, so like, to be honest, we could still have the best hand sometimes. And then we'll check fold the river. Yeah, so that's fine. Let's see here. Alright, I've been standing for a while doing some study and some other stuff, so I'm going to switch to sitting for a little bit. Also, for some reason my feet are cold. And the ground is a little cold, so maybe this will help. Alright, we're not going to polarize our second pair in a three-way pot. Or a third pair, rather. So these tables actually, I mean, they look pretty good. The top right table, I don't know, we've got what looks like could be a volatile player to our right, but no hard data yet. So yeah, like I was saying, I've had a couple pretty good sessions with my coach now in the Coaching for Profit. At least I think they've gone really well, and my results have started to improve. So as soon as I have the bankroll to move up to 50 NL, I'll move up again. I mean, as long as I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with it, because once I have the bankroll, it means that I will have, had enough winnings to pretty much prove that I'm crushing 25 NL, which I feel like I am now. I don't have the. I guess if I looked at my really recent numbers, it'd be pretty crushing, but I'll need at least 15,000 hands of. He's looking for 5 BBs per 100 plus. I'm pretty sure that if I look at my EV anyway, I'll be quite a bit higher than that over my next 10 or 15,000 hands. I just feel like I'm playing really well right now, so that's good news. The areas that I'm kind of working on for improvement now are just sort of ironing out my schedule, making sure that I'm sort of consistent every day with, waking up and going through my sort of routines and things like that. So I think as that stuff improves, so will my productivity. So sevens, I believe, is just going to be a call versus the cutoff. Yep. One thing that can be tough and frustrating sometimes. This guy donked turn, so he's gonna get. We want to see. I think we're gonna see the showdown that he donked turn with as well, which will be an additional boost. So this is pretty obviously a call. This guy's just c-betting. Oh. Interesting. If this guy folds, we'll call. If this guy calls, we'll fold. Because this is, again, this is really volatile. And it's just not the behavior of somebody. I mean, he's short, so 10's definitely in his range. But he also has, I mean, now we'll fold. But I just don't expect him to actually have a 10 that often. So, well done. Well done by us on the read. This guy, obviously, I think had a fairly easy call. And we had a fairly easy call. So, cool. Made the note, made the read, then proceeded to make a pretty good play based on it. Again, against this guy who's opening, like raising 50% of his hands, I think we can call with Queen 9 suited. This would be a little bit low in our range normally. And we really just want to, again, we have position, so we'll call for our draw. We don't need to worry too much about him having like big hands. Honestly, like I'll probably call a couple more with the queen because he's just got too many hands in his range. Like, yes, aces connect with his range, but there's a lot less of them out there because there's 2 on the board, and he's raising too frequently. Now, question is, do we bet to protect our hand, or do we check? I think because we have the redraw to the hearts, we can just check and then call any river bet. And here we obviously just want to call against this player when we hit our set. That's not a great card, but it's not gonna change anything here. And again, on table 3, we make the correct read and the correct play. Cool. Here, if he has any draws or he has any equity-driven bluffs, we don't want them folding. So here we're going to make sure we get all in against his 1 pairs, against his club draws, against his, you know, whatever, his aces. There we go. Anything that could find a fold on like a scary, terrifying river, we are going to want to get the money in. Against Queen 9 suited. It's just outside our opening range. I'm gonna talk to Nick about maybe expanding some of my opening stuff. Oh shoot, you know what? It's not, that is in my opening range. My bad. I was gonna say that really feels like it should be an open. It is, so that was a mistake. I don't know why I thought it wasn't. Hopefully, actually, this is a pretty good start because you're starting to see some of the yeah, some of the like changes I've implemented in my game. Now, here we could definitely call because we often have the best hand. However, I'm not terribly interested in trying to call multiple streets with, you know, I'm not going to call 3 streets with ace king high. And this player is going to barrel so often that it's going to be really like hard for us to get to showdown, and he's going to have like some sort of equity a lot of the times when he's barreling. Therefore, I think it's just a fold on the flop because it's going to be really expensive to try and call 3 streets with a bluff catcher. We just can't really bluff catch over multiple streets very effectively against somebody who's going to continue betting as much as this guy will. We hit trips on the river here. That's cool. And it's a pretty volatile player up here too. Yeah, I don't think we want to polarize this, and when he calls on the ace high board, I don't expect too many folds. I don't think he folds a 10 there, so I think we played that well. In general, I haven't found players who are folding pairs to double barrels. I mean, it takes 2 barrels to get a lot of these guys off of just 2 cards. So when they call on ace high boards, it just connects a little bit too much with what most players have in their range, and so I don't think bluffing the turn becomes all that good. Especially when we actually have showdown value. Okay. So this is a pretty standard raise, but he's potting it. I'm still gonna go ahead and just make the play. And then he like min clicks back. So this is like another weird volatile, like this is air a lot. I need more than king high to do anything about it, but this is, yeah, he just shows the 4. I mean, I don't know if he had 4 and a 6, doesn't really matter, but actually, did he show both? I saw a 6, but I don't know, because it actually, I mean, I said it doesn't matter, but that's not true. It is kind of relevant. Huh. Oh, and then he leaves, okay. Dinner. What time zone, like, what time zone is eating dinner right now? So what happened here? This guy, I 3-bet, so this is just a standard 3-bet c-bet. Might not be a horrible spot to check, but I'll just stick to the default strategy for now. We just pick up like the effective nuts. But he called on the ace, the paired ace board. So let's keep going. I'm trying to think. I mean, he could have like jacks, 10s, 8s, things like that would call. Obviously, if he has 7s or 9s, that's very good news. Ace queen, ace jack, all those hands are good news. So now we have to sort of think about, like, does his range have more hands that are going to bet or call? I think, again, because of like the jacks and 10s that would bet but would check back, and then like a thing like 7s or 9s might raise anyway. I think we just want to go with, again, just a sort of standard bet sizing here. Or like any ace that's not a full house. I think a lot of aces would bet, but we don't want to risk the ones that would check back. Seems risky. There we go. So I think this is pretty darn good for... We'll see what he had, and that'll sort of... what he had will affect how well we played it as well, to some extent. Ace king. So... I don't know. That's a tough one. I feel like I'm a little surprised he didn't raise at some point there. Obviously, knowing what we know now, we probably could have gotten some more value out of it, but tough to do when we don't know. And this is going to be a double barrel. I'm okay with repolarizing our range. There's draws. There's worse hands that will call. So not a problem to bet this turn on table 4. So we're deep against player 2. Oof, so close. That needed to be a heart for us to bet. I don't think we want to bet here. I well, I mean, I do, like, okay, well, let's just make our standard bet and then go from there. So we polarize again on the turn. He calls. I think we just polarize again on the river and bet fold. We'll bet nice and big. Try to get a call from any of his overpairs. And then I don't expect this player to fold very often once he calls the turn. We could even be ahead of some draws, but he's never folding a jack. I'm not sure I love the turn against this particular player because he's just not going to fold very often. But, you know, now he knows that we're capable of bluffing. So, saw us bluff. We can also upgrade him to V2 since we've seen him limp. Fold, check, fold. So he's donk bet top pair, limp. He's actually donk bet top pair 2 times, right? Times, well, I don't know if that was a donk last time. I don't know. But we can definitely upgrade him to indigo. Ace 9 4. Probably dry enough to raise naked. Ooh, we actually pick up, like, we hit the one card that actually gives us an open-ended straight draw on the turn. However, once he calls here, I mean, I guess we have a rule that says we can do this, so we will. But once he calls, I mean, and this sucks, we hit our pair, but he almost certainly has an ace now and is not folding. So, yeah. And then this guy leads out. Man, so here's the thing, like, we've got a draw, we've got position, but he's potting it. And I mean, I guess it's just way too high in our range to fold because of the 10, we can also hit cards that give us straight draws. So because we can hit straight draws and flush draws on the turn, there's just no way we can fold. Man, I kind of want to ship on this. Just because, like, he's just so volatile. He's going to have some, like, weak hands in his range and some draws. So let's just ship. This is pretty, a little bit risky, but again, we know that he's volatile. We have equity. He folds, like, some percentage of the time he'll fold, like, especially if he's just doing this with, like, air or with draws. So he doesn't have air or draws this time. So that was a huge pot, but I still think it's okay. I mean, we still had a ton of equity against that. Even against that specific hand, we had a lot of equity. So I'm not upset about that hand. I mean, it would have been nice to win it since it was a 4 buy-in hand, but again, like, you have to, against players that are going to play volatile and high variance, you have to be willing to play high variance with them. Not reckless, not bad, but you have to be willing to get involved in high variance spots. I mean, that's still a high variance spot if we have aces, right? Like, that's still a high variance spot with aces. Here we're out of position, so I think we should just raise this flop. And I'm going to switch over the tape, so I will see you guys back here in just a minute. I guess you'll probably want to see the conclusion of this hand. These 10s we should raise. Oof. 8's kind of a... I guess we'll check, since now he's got boats in his range. And now he's got worse straights as well. I guess we'll bet. If he jams on us, I don't know what to do. I'll just stop the tape and never talk about it again. Okay. No, I'm kidding. If he jams there, we do need to fold. It just is unfortunate. Okay, let me switch this over real quick. Hopefully we'll get back in time for this 10s hand.